Welcome to Hair Talk Coffee Club with me. I'm Carly.
I'm Gray.
We just kind of want to shoot the shit with y'all.
Yeah.
So what's something this week that you learned? ? I learned that you can't predict anything with children.
I was going to say something like that.
Yeah, like every week they're sick.
Yeah.
And then you have to move clients or something.
Yeah. It's always something.
It's always something. I guess we could go ahead and talk about some things that we have been experiencing in the industry. How do you feel like your social media currently is benefiting you?
I think social media is so great.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people want to say that it's, you can do it without, and I think you can. But I think it's just such a good way to stay, not even just the, posting and putting the work out there. I think that is like the majority of what people think about it. But like you always say, though, connection with people. And I think even whenever the focus is solely like content from ourselves, that gets lost.
Yes.
Because it takes so much energy.
I think you're so good at the content part. I constantly fail at that part. I have great intentions and then I don't execute. But I think the thing that you just pointed out is the relational part of it, of staying connected with your clients is, I think, one of the only ways that I've maintained my business.
Yeah.
And I think you've been able to grow and maintain your business by putting out good content and then keeping in touch with them.
Well, it's so funny, too, that you say that you think I'm good at it because I feel like I'm terrible at it.
That's called imposter syndrome.
Yeah. But, they're like, do you know how much they recommend you like post in a day?
No, I don't.
I mean, like upwards of like 3 times a day.
I can't even do it once a month.
I'll look at my feed sometimes and I'm like, oh, it's been a month. I got to get something out there.
Oh, my God. Well, this is where it gets into with what we're doing and what our goals are, we need to outsource that because it's just, can we do things? Yeah. Sure. Should we? No.
It's just so much time.
It's so much time to do it well.
And I do, but see, like you can't escape it either.
No.
Because I think it is so important.
It is. It's weird because when I started doing hair, that wasn't even a thing. Yeah. MySpace was still around. Facebook had just started. I had to be invited to Facebook from a boyfriend who was in college, and he had to use my email. Like that's how old I am.
What was your MySpace song?
I had lots of them. I changed it all the time.
Was it? I never had
Most
MySpace.
likely it was emo. I knew how to code back then. I could literally code. I can't even log into Canva and do a proper logo. And back then I could code and I made different backgrounds and I always had different music. And those were the days. And then by the time I moved to Nashville in 2011, I'd done hair for a couple years. And then I didn't get Instagram, I think, till 2014.
Yeah.
I think so, because I don't think I even got a smartphone. I was very like, I don't need a smartphone. Why would I need that? Mm-hmm. And then in 2013, I finally did it. And now I regret that decision sometimes. But I'm also thankful for it. And when Instagram came around, I definitely think it helped me build my business in Nashville for sure.
Yeah.
But we didn't have stories back then. Mm-hmm. It was just you posted pictures of your food. Yeah. And you just made crazy filters where you looked orange and glowy. And that's what it was. But then it quickly evolved into the mirror pictures where we thought we were brilliant editors and we would have like the back-to-back color pictures. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where it would mirror side to side.
Yeah.
If you go deep on my Instagram, guarantee you it's still there.
Can still find them.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I love it.
I haven't cleaned that shit up in forever.
Yeah.
Or ever. I don't think I've ever done that. So I probably should.
My whole life. From the time I started is on,
where were you at 2014?
Page, 14 years old. That's interesting though that you were saying like you haven't cleaned it up in a while, and I was thinking I haven't either, but I have a separate page.
Yeah,
I have a personal and then I have a work, but that's also because whenever I started,
they told you had to?
Well, yeah, maybe they did. I think they actually did whenever I was in school, but also. It's so interesting because I don't know that I would do that again.
I was just about to ask you, would you do that now?
No.
I don't think people should. And it's not that you did a wrong choice, but they told everyone when you were coming into this, in any industry, at that time period, that you needed to have a business one and a personal one. But I swear to God that even though I don't post on my feed regularly, like any content related to my industry, I think because I'm posting my life, my clients, and so much in the beginning of doing hair, I have clients that in the very beginning of moving to Nashville, even after doing 3 to 4 years of hair, cutting a bob, I look back, I'm like, how did they still come to me? That bob was terrible.
Yeah.
But I think it's because of that relationship building. And I think that's what social media allows you to do.
Yeah. I think people want to see, I think such a big part of doing hair is also, you know, that you fit their hair goals and what they want out of that, but also what they want out of the whole time that they're going to be there.
Yeah, because it's not like a dude sitting there for maybe 45 minutes. Whereas, and even then, honestly, like I used to have, when I worked on Music Row, it was like 50-50 men to women.
I don't do men's hair.
Right? And then when I moved to East Nashville, I think I maybe do not even 10% of my clients are dudes.
Yeah.
But even still with them, with only seeing them 30 to 45 minutes, it is so relational in and out of work. Like, we are like sending each other stupid shit on Instagram, or like I'll see a reel and I send it to this guy who's like, I know is a tour manager, and going through it and I see a funny thing about Oasis probably breaking up the moment they start their tour.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's where for me, I'm like, I never have felt guilty for not putting out content because I was able to utilize it to build what I want. And then now I keep it for the relational part.
Yeah.
And I still get people that hit me up because so-and-so referred them.
Yeah.
But I do think if people are trying to build their brand, they have to have
your
it.
credibility was kind of already there by the time that the social media really started. Where like mine wasn't. It was 2019.
Yeah.
Whenever I started doing hair. So, and I moved here to Nashville and knew no one.
Right.
Like not a single person.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of people do the word of mouth works well whenever they have
a community,
family, friends, you know, or from somewhere. But I definitely had to have the social media. And still to this day, I do get word of mouth a lot now. But to me, too, a big part of the word of the mouth is like posting the story. And then people being like, yeah, I heard of you from so-and-so, but actually like not in person. A lot of things aren't in person anymore.
It's so true. Because you and I both always ask how they found us.
Yeah.
And so much of it is, if it is word of mouth, it's from, oh, well, my stylist in whatever city they moved from followed my work. That's how they, it's pretty cool. And I love it for us sending our clients out into the world. Like, hey, if you're moving to Phoenix, I've got 3 stylists for you.
Yes.
You know, and it's that part of social media that is important still and always will be. But I definitely think if people are starting out pretty much in any industry, they have to just bite the bullet and get content out there. It just is a part of it. And even like if I moved to a different city, I would have to do the same thing, you know? And so I always remind myself of that, and that I would still have to treat it like I'm brand new.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, because anytime you move, you kind of are in this industry, but
that's why we can't move.
Yeah, that is the, I stuck here forever. That's what my husband's always like, we could always move somewhere. And I'm like,
it would be starting from zero. Yeah.
Do you know what that means for us?
That's why stylists, when they do it, they go back and forth for, you know, every 6 to 8 weeks.
It's not even like it is the end of the world. Like I'm confident now. Like I built my books first. This was the first time I ever did, you know,
but you did
from
it
school to now quickly.
Yep.
It was less than a year and I had a full clientele, and that was working 5 to 6 days a week. So not only was I just building a normal clientele, I had a clientele that could, you know, book me out at least 3 weeks in advance for 5 to 6 days.
Yep.
And I think it's because I was so focused on that aspect of things.
Yep.
I really wanted to learn not just hair, but like the business side of things. And so many people don't do that. No. And now, really, if I wanted to, I could move and it would be fine.
I think that's should be one of our courses or modules that we teach.
Yeah.
Is that right there? Because I think people make it this grand thing, and it's really just as simple as a couple steps.
Hard.
It's hard if people are not consistent.
Well, it's hard when you don't know.
Yeah, if they don't know. So it's like, do you want to learn how to build your books in a year? We've got it.
Yeah.
We can teach you how to do that.
That's the thing, is everyone always asks me, especially while I was in it, you know, in the middle of doing all of that. But people could tell that it was happening really fast for me, and they wanted to know, what was it? Like, what was it that you were doing? You know, I hired someone to tell me how to do it.
A coach.
Yeah.
And if you don't, it's the same with like fitness, right?
Yeah.
Like I actually showed up to work out when I was paying somebody to do it.
Yeah.
And that is my personality. If I do not have an accountability partner that I'm paying, like same with like functional medicine, like I'm paying way too much money for them to tell me to eat better when I could just do that on my own.
Yeah.
But I know when I go in June, if I tell her, no, I've actually just been eating McDonald's, she's going to be like, why would you do that?
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know, or therapists. And so it's the same with a business coach. And what you did is you hired somebody to be like, hey, how are you doing on this?
Yeah.
This is what you need to be doing next. And honestly, did you need her? Probably not. But but it held you accountable.
It does. And it's one of those things like anything in life. Can you do it on your own? Yeah, you can pretty much do almost anything if you really want to, you know, but then it's like, what is the goal? Is the goal to take 10 years to do it?
Yeah.
Or is the goal to take like 12 months to do it?
Yes.
So yeah, you know, hiring a coach, all that really did was, I mean, it gave me like mass amounts of information in such a short amount of time. And then not only that information, but what to do with that information.
Yes.
And so I could have done it, but I would not be where I am near as quickly as I was.
Right.
And even then, I feel like a lot of times, even with doing hair behind the chair, it's like you can either get the information, learn the information, and learn that way, or you can trial and error it and then like pocket all of this information that you're getting along the way. But do you really know the why?
Exactly.
Could you repeat it?
Yep.
You know?
It's the same with technique. Exactly. That's what you're saying. It's like, you can, if you do something out of a mistake, like that's all good and well, but how are you going to repeat that?
Exactly.
And that's where consistency and technique comes into place. And that's what you did.
Like someone who's so good at hair, like you could fuck around and like accidentally build a clientele.
Yep.
I mean, it might take you a little bit longer, but you could, that's what people do. That's what most people do.
Yeah. Like we could tell people what to do.
Yeah.
And are they going to understand the why?
Yeah.
And I think that's half of it is people think, oh my God, I just have to post. Like I'll see even people trying to recruit models and they're posting like the technique and not the vision.
Yeah.
And I want to slam my head against the wall because I'm like, they don't know what you're talking about. Like you have to sell an idea. You have to sell a story. It's the same when they get in your chair. People only think about what can I make from this person right now? And they're not thinking this person could equal $10,000 for my services just this year. And how do I get there?
Yeah. And
I think, again, we could tell them the what, but if they don't understand the why and the how, they're not going to do it. No. And then it's the I think anyone that I respect in any industry, especially our own, they've done something consistently.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
And that's, I mean, anyone that you look at, even on social media, that seems like they're a hair influencer. They have a brand and they've done it consistently. And my goal isn't to be an influencer on social media. My goal is to help people make money.
There's just so many different avenues and goals that you can have. Is it to have a big, ginormous following? Or is it to use that social media to maybe not have like 100,000 followers, but have a fully booked clientele? Because there are those people that do have, you know, we were just talking, like, is it for the consumer or is it for the stylist?
Yes.
Or is it for building a clientele or is it for building like the credibility in the field or both? Right. You know what I mean? Because really to me, the numbers don't matter. I adore and like hats off to those influencer hairstylists that are real. They're like, I have a few 100,000 followers, but I'm not fully booked out like I would want to be. And so that just goes to show that it's not just the social media. Social media is part of it. Right. But it's also the business. Like, I think anyone who's a hairstylist, whether you're booth rent or commission, you're a business.
What I did in the very beginning of my career, and I didn't even realize I was doing it, was I treated it always, I never asked permission.
Yeah.
I've never asked for a day off.
Yeah.
I've always, in my mind, been a business owner. And my business is Carly Ray Coady.
Yes.
And the moment that I realized that is when I was starting to coach other stylists and I'm like, wow, they don't realize that they don't need to ask permission. Just do it. Just invite yourself to places you're not invited to and just spend the money because it'll come back to you, whether it's taking a class or going and just shadowing somebody, whatever it is, like treat it like you're investing in yourself. And my books, no one's responsibility is more than my own with my books. Like I take my books and I obsess over them. I know exactly what's going on and I always have. Yeah. And I've always looked at everybody else's numbers that I've worked with my whole career and not in a, oh, I want to beat them way, but like, yeah, of course I do. Yeah. But it's a healthy mindset because for me, it's about growth and I want to understand how they're doing it.
Yeah.
Or I also want to understand like, I see this person there 6 days a week. Why aren't they doing as good as so-and-so? And I study the why, and I know exactly why.
Off that point, how do you feel? This is controversial. I found out. I didn't know.
Oh.
I didn't know that it was.
I love controversy.
Knowing other people's numbers.
I think it's fantastic. In any sales culture, if you work in any corporate world, you're going to know.
And what are we?
We are salespeople. And if people think that they are not salespeople, unfortunately, I think that they're never going to be successful.
I mean, you're like selling yourself as a person to do something.
And if you don't want to know numbers, then you need to just focus on the art.
Yes.
So, and if that's what you want to do, that's amazing. You can.
Cool.
And be successful in that. You can do editorial work. You can be creative. But if you say that you want to be a high earner in doing hair, you've got to be obsessed with everybody's numbers.
Yeah. Do you know what the moment it was for me that like really did it for me?
Tell me.
I figured out, like, I thought I was hijacking something whenever I could see everyone's numbers through our software system. But it was normal. Like, before I knew about all of this, like, that's the point.
Yes.
That's the point. But I saw the top person at the salon. And I mean, you were one of them at the time, you know? And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like, in a year?
Yeah.
And then I did that, like in less than 6 months' time. But I did not know what was possible until I saw what was possible.
Exactly. And for me, it's so much less about like, oh my gosh, I'm working the same amount as this person. I'm not making it. For me, it's about, okay, they're doing this in this amount of time. I can do that for me, I'm all about less time. And I wasn't always that way because I used to work 6 days a week.
Yes.
At this juncture in my life, I'm like, if I can only work 3 days a week, and like we talked about this, like last year I worked 3 days a week, 27 hours average a week, and took 3 months off total and made $80K. That's not $100K, but I only worked 3 days a week and I took 3 months off.
I think it's so funny though, because was $100K my goal my first year?
Totally.
Yeah.
It's everyone's.
Did I do it? Yes. Was that amazing? Yes. Could I have also made like $100K working a restaurant job?
Yes.
I could do that working at McDonald's if I worked enough hours.
Yes, you could.
So I think it's so much more than just like picking a number and going with that, you know?
Yes.
That's a good goal in the beginning because that proves that you can build and you can do that. But now I do $100K and I work 4 days a week.
Exactly.
Max.
Exactly.
You know? And I just think that's what coaching, consulting, it creates an individual plan for somebody.
Exactly.
What do you want to do? What do you want your life to look like?
Yes.
How many days do you want to work? Do you want to make as much money as possible? Then we can have you work 6 days a week.
And you'll make 150 to 200.
You can make 200,000. Or do you want to work half that?
And
make 100,000.
And I think what I am seeing, and I think it's post-COVID, a lot of people are trying to, because, you know, after COVID, we're like, all right, we all slowed down. Just kidding. We didn't. We sped up.
Yeah.
But I think people are craving that autonomy and that, and in our industry, you don't get the work from home option. So what a great option that we don't have to work 5 days a week, 9 to 5.
Exactly.
We could work 3 days. You could work 30 hours in 3 days. You could work, what's 12 times 3? I can't do the math.
36.
Thank you. 36.
Yeah.
You could do that in 3 days. You could do 4 days. And that is such a beautiful gift that we're like, not only can you choose your schedule, but we can show you how to do $1,200 in services a day.
Yeah. I feel like there's become a moral and ethical component to all of this.
Yes.
Within the stylist-client relationship.
Yes.
I don't want to make 100, whatever number.
Yeah.
Whatever number. I don't want to make that at the expense of my client in a way where it's not like fair. Like the whole charge your worth.
Oh God, I hate it. God, I hate it. Because like
the thing
that's so
with
subjective.
that is, are you ethically charging for your worth? How are you defining your worth? Numbers are what define your worth.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I deserve to make this much. Why do you deserve to make that much?
Yep.
We need to have something to back that up, because I think that's the big problem happening, where there's this weird like war on the hairstylists, and hairstylists are getting so upset, and they're like, why is everyone attacking us? And the consumer's like, the prices are insane.
Yep.
If you can deliver the quality for that service, the price isn't insane.
The value's there.
If you can back it up of why, not that you have to, back it up to your client, but they'll know.
Yes.
They'll be able to tell, was this worth what that person was charging? Yes, it was, or no, it wasn't.
Yep.
And that's where when you are you just decide to charge this price to make what you want to make in a year.
Yep.
That's when you have problems.
Yep.
Is if there's no reason to it.
Yeah, like and what defines value?
Yeah.
Because that's the issue when people like charge your worth, charge your value. What defines value? Because it's actually not science.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to quantify your value. So how do we define that?
Yes.
I think you define it by not only the service that you're giving and the quality that you're giving, but the business that you're providing your client. So are you accessible?
Mm-hmm.
Are you helping them manage their lifestyle? Are you making their lifestyle easier by either the technique or the booking?
That maybe their life is easier whenever they're as blonde as fucking possible, or maybe their life is easier when they don't have to come in every. And can you define that for them?
Can you define that for them? Like when they sit in your chair during the consultation, are you just looking at the picture saying, yes, we can do this today? Or are you asking about their lifestyle and what is their biggest priority? Is it health? Is it maintenance? Is it growth? Do they not give a fuck? And you have to define that. And the moment that you break away at the client with that and you determine what is their ultimate goal or what their needs are, you're making their lifestyle easier, whatever that is. Because what you're doing is you're saying, I'm going to make your grow out easier, or I'm going to make it easy for you to get in with me every 6 weeks because we're going to go ahead and book that out. Yeah. Whatever it is, if you can make their life easier and make doing their hair or getting the luxury service that is hair done, make that easy, then your value is there. And part of that is not doing their hair for 4 or 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the issue in this world too, is they're saying charge your worth, charge your value, and they're taking 4 or 5 hours of these people's time.
No, it's longer than that. It's like day. It's like a day.
Oh no. I don't want to be with anybody for a day.
No.
They don't want to be with me for a day.
And that's the thing. And it's like, then you have to charge a day's rate to do someone's hair for a whole day.
So $1,200.
So stop taking that long to do it. Like I'm not about
there's not any service that you, unless it's like a soup. I did that one last year, and I hadn't done one like that literally in a decade.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it.
No.
And that was not something I would ever advertise because I don't want to do that, because I don't believe that that is a correct thing to do. We can talk about that on a different topic.
Yeah.
It's so much more about, are you doing good hair?
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, how much time is it taking you?
Yeah.
And then
people hate that one, by the way.
What? The time?
Stylists hate that one.
Are you learning this on TikTok?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, see,
No, Instagram, TikTok, hairstylists.
Your algorithm is different than mine.
This is so crazy. This is so crazy because we don't need to be like the old school of like pump it in and out, in and out, in and out.
Yeah.
But also you cannot take a whole day.
This isn't a tattoo.
Hair.
Like it's one thing, a tattoo, I get it.
Yeah.
Because it's permanent.
Yeah.
When it comes to hair, they're going to have to come back eventually.
Yeah.
So for me, maybe that is why we built our books so quickly, is because we knew how to do something beautiful and in an efficient way. And the client's like, wow, I don't have to go every 3 months and sit 5 to 7 hours.
Yeah.
They know that they're going to come for 3 hours at the most.
And then you can charge that client less.
Right.
Because it's not taking you so much time.
Right. And also, if I was a salon owner, I would want my stylist to be taking less time.
Yeah.
Because that's how I make more money. And also, they're using less, if they're taking less time, it is just a fact they're going to use less product.
Mm-hmm.
And as a salon owner, that is how you become more profitable.
Yeah.
And so as a salon owner, I would want to coach my stylist on how to do efficient placement.
Yes.
Because not only would it be, time is money, we all know that. It's no matter what, you don't even have to add bowls of color. I think that philosophy is so dumb. If your stylist is taking 4 hours, that means they're using too much color.
Way too much.
Too much. And then they're probably doing all this shit they don't need to do to correct something if they had just learned how to foil properly.
Yeah. I think things are a lot more detailed.
It's better work than it was 10 plus years ago.
But
you can still do that in an efficient time.
There's people doing that in an efficient time. And then there's people that are not. And then there's people that are willing to pay what it takes to do that for those people that are not doing it so efficiently.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I know it takes a long time.
Yeah.
And I don't think that you should, like, at the expense of your mental health, try and cut your times down to as short as you possibly
Especially
can.
to deliver like a bomb ass color.
Yes. And if it comes down to that, where that's your goal is to have your shortest times, you could possibly have, great. But you can have an in-between. You can have a time where it's like, this is efficient for the client.
Yes.
This is also a good amount of time for me where I don't have to charge them an arm and a leg to do their balayage.
Yes.
And then I can also get someone else in the day.
Yep.
And now I'm making more.
And if I was a salon owner, I would, if I had to balance the new wave of hairdressers of I want to be able to take my time and do what I need to do. Okay, well then we have these package prices.
Yes.
Your new client is obviously going to take you 3 to 4 hours. Cool. Do that, but make sure you're educating your client in the consultation. Okay, so today obviously it's going to take a lot longer. Here's the reasons why. But what's so great about this is, 10 to 14 weeks from now, when you come in, this is only going to take us 2 hours. It's going to cost a lot less. And because we already did all this work that we're going to do today, it's going to be just as beautiful because all I have to do is like your hairline and a little bit on the top, whatever the technique is. And so teaching salon owners how to, you can recruit and you can balance that new wave of what people need, which is beautiful, detailed color. And you can, as an intro to your salon, it be a longer appointment, but then moving forward, maintenance shouldn't be that long. No. And that's how you're going to become more profitable because you're building that story in consultation number 1 of, okay, I'm already buying into that. I have to maintain this and I have to maintain this in 12 weeks. But I'm only going to be there for 2 hours and I'm going to spend way less.
Or maybe it's someone that wants to come once a year and spend 8 hours. Fine, whatever.
And that's true. And that's okay.
That's fine.
And have that option. And then that's that package pricing.
Exactly. Then the price has to reflect that.
Exactly.
But that's not every client. That's like a rare few.
I literally think it's not even 5% of my clients. And I see them once a year. Sometimes I think I have more that would be, if they were in that category, it's twice a year.
Yeah.
But I do have some that we do like a balayage, like up to the root, and then I see them a year later.
And I even have some. You know what? You made their life their quality of life.
Yes.
That they got from that appointment, that they were able to go like 6 to 9 months.
Yep. And that's where you should charge your worth.
You have to charge for that then. If I'm making you be able to go, like, that's the thing. I'm for the stylist and I'm for the client.
Yes.
Like I want you to be able to get it done once a year and pay that price once if that's what you want.
Right.
But then from the stylist point of view, you also have to charge for the worth that you're giving them. And you're giving them ability to have their time back.
Yes.
They don't have to sit there every 6 weeks.
I think that's where it goes. This ties it back to what we were talking about, is people not understanding their business.
Yeah.
They're just always constantly thinking about, how do I do hair?
Yeah.
And it's like, obviously we want you to be good at that. So build your confidence on that first in the industry. And then the second portion of your, building your career in your industry needs to be about understanding your business.
Yes.
Because you can't understand the worth you're giving if you don't get the maintenance of it.
And you know what? I think the problem is people are shooting themselves in the foot right out the gate.
Yeah.
Because they are like, new stylists are setting their prices so high.
Yeah.
That
where do you build?
And then they're not able to deliver on that. And it's not their fault.
Yep.
It's because they don't have the time behind them. And not everyone takes a super long time.
Yeah.
Like, some people it does take a while to get to that quality of work. Some people it doesn't.
Right.
But there's such a beautiful thing about starting out that and charging less.
Well, you'll get more clients that way.
There isn't that pressure.
Yes.
I mean, it's like you're at a lower price and people are going to be ecstatic with the beautiful work that you give them.
So true.
I learned this so abruptly and like quickly because I did climb my prices very quickly.
Right.
You pass a certain point where now there is this insane pressure to deliver, and rightfully so, because your prices are higher.
That makes so much sense.
And now people are going to expect more out of you. So if you're a new stylist and you're charging that like price that people are expecting so much out of, you are setting yourself up for failure. And that's why people exit the industry.
Gosh, that's so true. I'm so glad you said that, because I do think that's exactly right. Like the pressure of that alone. And I think I've lost sight of that because it took me a while to get to that point.
Yeah.
And I think that when you start low, I've had clients with me since the very beginning of me living in Nashville.
Yeah.
For 14 years that paid a lot differently than they do now.
Mm-hmm.
That's a separate conversation of how do you climb them up, because that's difficult, and we can talk to salon owners about that.
But it's not impossible.
But it's not impossible.
You can do it quickly.
And you can, and you know why they still come back to me? Because I make their lives easier.
And you were able to deliver.
And I was able to deliver.
Each time you raised that price, you were able to deliver.
They're like,
more.
I know why I'm willing to pay $50 more this time, because I know for a fact She's always going to make sure I get in. She's always going to make sure that she delivers quality work, and I'm going to have fun while I'm sitting in her chair.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. Or we're going to cry together. It doesn't matter. There's that relationship there that I think over time, people get so concerned about raising their prices if they start at a $60 haircut. I'm like, no, you can totally do it if you have the work to prove it.
Exactly.
There's that. I think I told you about that stylist I saw on social media. She does amazing bleach and tones, and people are like, "Why don't you charge whatever $400?"
She doesn't want to
pass that bracket because she doesn't want to deal with that clientele. And I'm like, I loved her honesty on that because it goes back to, you don't have to be this stylist that makes $500,000 a year and sacrifice your sanity. No. What life do you want? And we'll help you get there.
Exactly. I think that's such an important point. Like, you have to look at the prices that you're setting and then really look at what is going to be attached with that.
Exactly.
If you're a super anxious stylist who can't stand
high maintenance personalities.
Exactly. And can't stand like any type of confrontation that like puts you over the edge, maybe you maybe plan for that with your prices.
Yeah. Like, then keep it on the lower end, and that's fine. Just have quantity, and that's
then,
okay.
Yes. So then you stop at a certain price point because you don't want to pass that bracket. Then how do you make more money? There's ways you can do that. You don't have to make more money by just raising your prices.
No.
There's so many other things
book.
you can do.
We can help you manage your books, but you don't even have to double book, like, because that's such an archaic way to say it. I don't even like saying double book because I don't book 45.
Exactly.
I just smart book.
Yes, that.
I
can't stand double booking.
No,
I
couldn't do like, oh, wait, every color takes 45 minutes to process. No, I just manage my books, and I book smartly.
And it's going to sound so backwards. I don't double book, but I have two people there at all times.
Because I do the meat of the work, and somebody's finishing the style, the end of the appointment.
There's ways to do it that feel good.
Yeah.
And I was afraid of having more than one client in the building at a time because I didn't want to lose
the one-on-one.
I didn't want to lose that. And I didn't want them to feel like I was jibbing them in any way.
Yeah.
They don't. If your assistant is not raising your quality of work to the next level, you're using your assistant incorrectly.
Yes. And I was just about to say that. I think that it makes me make more money when I have a good assistant because I'm able to take more time to educate my client. I'm able to add more to that service, whereas before I couldn't. Like if they booked for a partial highlight and they needed a full highlight, and that's a whole other topic of that, like of that type of menu, but I couldn't do it before. Whereas now I'm like, no, I totally have the time. I can deliver this bomb ass color because my assistant is going to finish your work, and I have more time to educate you, sell you more product, talk to you about, okay, so it's May. And then in the hour and a half I'm applying color, we're figuring out, oh, just kidding. You have a wedding in August. Let's not wait till September.
Right.
Let's book it in August. So when we smart book, it's allowed me to make more money, not even because of cutting my time shorter, but be able to deliver better color.
I literally don't care what any of my clients come in with and sit down and ask for. I'll do whatever the fuck you want.
I think they could just book color.
I don't care what you book.
No. And
book a color. Don't do a haircut, right? But with my assistant, you can sit down in my chair and tell me just about whatever the fuck you want.
Yes,
I can do it.
Exactly. And that's where I really think it's elevated our business because we've been able to open up the freedom to do that.
Yeah.
And I think our clients have felt that creativity because it's almost like a challenge in our brains where we're like, ooh, what can I do in this time frame? You know what, like the old school me would have been like, this is only the time I have for that. No, fuck that. Like, it's like, I told the front desk because they're like, could you get so-and-so in this? I'm like, I can do any color in an hour and a half.
Yes.
Any color.
People ask me, they're like, I don't know what to, if I'm consulting with, say I have a haircut and they're asking me, I talk everyone into a color. Everyone at some point's getting a color.
Yep.
So I have a haircut that comes in, they're like, okay, so I talk them into something that's going to benefit their life. They're like, okay, what do I book? Full highlight, partial highlight, balayage, but I don't care.
I tell them that too. I'm like, and when I'm pre-booking, I think that's also the conversation that goes into pre-booking where I'm like, I don't really care what you book. We're going to book it for this. And if we change our minds that day, that's fine. And I think it's more fun for the client. And also it pushes them to be more creative too. I think one of the ways when it goes to retention is when people do the same thing over and over again. Remember we talked about that with the one client that was like, she brought me a formula from her old stylist in Miami. And so I was like, okay, she must really like this formula. Yeah. And I forgot to push her to change because I saw her every 3 weeks.
Did she not even really like the formula?
No.
Yeah.
No. And if I had just not suffered for 2 years doing it, I could have changed to what I thought she would look good with. Turns out she texted me a picture of Dorit Kensley from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And I fucking love that color. Yeah. And I literally moved heaven and earth. Like I moved clients.
Yeah.
Sorry, clients. I did. Because I would do the same for all my clients.
I would do it for, you do it for anyone.
It's like, to me, I'm like, I think I've built such a good relationship with my clients that I respect their time so much. And I hate when things happen and I have to cancel on them last minute. But there's a give and take where I have grace for them as well. So I didn't mind moving my day around to make it happen for her because I was like, oh my God, I almost lost her because I was boring her.
You didn't even think.
Yes.
Like maybe I need to change this up.
And part of retention is, hey, I don't care if they get 4N at every appointment. Be like, hey, it's summer. Let's pop in a few highlights.
Yeah.
Hey, I know that we're doing this like more warm brown, but what if we switch it to a more like cool brown?
Yeah.
You know, whatever it is, which cool brown, that's like the worst scenario. But anyways, like it's our job and that's how we retain them is by pushing them to be creative. So when we're pre-booking, and I don't even think I intentionally did this, every time I would say, I don't care what you book for, we'll do whatever you want when I see you.
Exactly.
Because we'll shoot each other ideas.
Time, we're gonna plan that out.
We'll figure it out. I'll always figure it out. Yeah. We will always figure it out. And I think with clients too, I think you need to have boundaries outside of work. Like don't answer texts at Sunday at 8 p.m. But at the same time, during regular business hours, I'm DMing them about, Real Housewives or whatever. Yeah. I'm also going to send ideas to them and they send me ideas. Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of where social media is cool because you can have that boundary where it's not texting.
Yeah.
But you're also like, hey, I saw this and I think it would look really good on you. And what it's showing them is I care so much about you. I'm thinking about you in between the 3 months that I see you.
Yeah.
And I think that's where that relationship and that, I feel like we've talked about that being a controversy on social media. Mm-hmm. I call bullshit. I think that the main reason that because in the beginning of doing hair, even 14 years ago in Nashville, I'd done hair for a few years at that point. I don't think I was great at doing hair. I think I was really great at building relationships.
Yeah.
And I knew how to do that. And back then I was like going to different networking events. I would go to bars. I'd go to, all these random shows in Nashville where I knew industry people would be. And I would find the people that knew a lot of people and I would schmooze them. Mm-hmm. And so now with social media, you don't even have to do all that. And you can just hit them up. Slide in their DMs.
Right.
And you'll book them every time.
So what?
Have you ever had somebody say like no to you?
No.
Yeah. It might be, I can't do it on Friday, but I can do it a month from now.
And I mean, it's also knowing the people, like if someone's posting, like if you look at their social media and they've posted selfies with their hair and they're like adding their hairstyles, obviously don't ask that person.
Yeah. That's just like.
Right. Ugh. Like don't set yourself up for failure. But like.
If it's one of your clients you haven't seen in like 4 or 5 months.
Yes.
Hit them up. And unless they're like clearly like living in New York or if they're like posting like you just said that they had their hair done 4 weeks ago.
You see someone on Instagram and you're like, that is the ideal type of hair I'd like to do.
Yes.
Look at their Instagram. Is there any indication of where they're going, what hairstylist they're using currently? If there's not, just ask.
So this
be like, do you have someone that's doing your hair like consistently or are you looking for someone? Because I love your hair.
And I would love to do it.
I can make it real good.
Exactly. And I think if you show that confidence, they're going to buy it. Yeah. And I think that's where, again, people don't want to think they're salespeople in the hair industry.
Sales. I mean,
but you are. And if you think that you're not, there's honestly not one industry in the world where you are not a salesperson. Because you are selling your time for money in any job. Yeah. That's just sales.
It's so crazy too, because I do feel like it's one of the only industries that is truly, truly a sales industry.
Yeah.
And I would dare to say probably more than this, but definitely over half of stylists have no idea what their numbers are.
99.9% probably don't.
And you have zero knowledge of your numbers. What?
I blame salon owners. I'm going to say that right now. I think as a salon owner, if your stylists don't know their pricing, that's on you. Because is it the salon owner's job? No. But if you have a commission salon and you're trying to be profitable, you need to be coaching your stylist.
Is it their job? Maybe not. But I'll tell you what, if I was the salon owner, I would want to know every single thing. Yes. And I would want my stylist to know their numbers. Yes. And I'm going to make sure that happens.
Yes.
So is it my job on paper? No, but realistically, is it my job? 1,000%.
Because it's their job to understand how to incentivize their people. And that's where I was very harsh in blaming the salon owner, but I don't blame him in the sense that salon owners today are just so busy and overwhelmed. They don't have time to manage.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about your numbers this week. Let's talk your numbers. They can't even do it quarterly.
No.
And so I think that's where it comes into salon owners hiring coaches that can do that.
You gotta hire out.
You have to, because the salon owner is managing every single part of overhead by themselves most of the time. And that's where only 7% of salons are profitable.
Yeah.
Only 7%.
That doesn't surprise me.
That's because they are so overwhelmed that, and most of them are hairdressers and they don't have time.
Any other field, does the owner do everything?
No.
Not
they
a single
outsource.
Other field.
But successful businesses, they're gonna hire good people and trust those people to do it. And I think that's where our service of helping and coaching people will be such a relief for salon owners, because we want to help take a load off of them and or add value to their brand by taking these stylists and coaching them one-on-one on their pricing and how to do everything we've just talked about.
Yeah.
And it's not rocket science. I think it's just that salon owners don't have time, truly.
They don't have time. And I think that in and of itself is to just sit down with someone, a salon owner, and be like, I think it is important. And I think it is your job. Is it your job to be that person for them? Maybe not.
Correct.
But if you want to be profitable and you want everyone to succeed as much as they can, which is good for you, then I do think it's an important aspect. But you don't have to do it. You can hire people out for that.
Exactly.
I don't do anything. I do not do everything. I do not do close to everything in my life.
No.
You know?
No.
I mean, my husband mows the lawn, but I would rather pay someone to do that.
So when we bought our house, that was a conversation where Jay's like, I like mowing the lawn. I'm like, but we could pay somebody. We don't have a big yard.
Yeah.
We could pay somebody who will do it better and efficiently.
Yeah.
And then that hour to 3 hours it takes you could be spending with us.
Time is money, man.
And so then it flipped eventually to where he's like, you're right. I'm like, thank God.
Yeah.
You know I'm right. And it's the same with cleaning houses, painting. Could I paint my house? Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I? No, because or moving. I don't do it efficiently.
Yeah.
I'm going to take longer. I'm going to mess it up. And that's where if we don't take ownership as stylists of our own business, that's on us. And we can outsource, whether you're an independent stylist or a salon owner, you can outsource your business growth to somebody else.
Yeah. The assistant aspect, that's outsourcing.
Yes, it is.
For us.
It is. We're willing to pay that because we know the benefit.
We pay them.
Yeah.
I mean, to some degree, there's different setups that you can have depending on if you're a booth rental or a commission salon.
Yeah.
But to some degree, you're going to be paying your assistant in any setup. And are you losing money by doing that?
I made more.
You make more.
Yep.
So same thing for salon owners. Don't do everything.
Don't do
You're
it.
losing money by doing everything.
Exactly. And the businesses that we see that quickly outsource different parts of their brand grow at a higher rate, much quicker than any other business. And I think that there's a control factor with a lot of creatives in general, where they're scared to give up control. And that's where, as a business owner, you can't do that.
Well, I mean, we hear it all the time. People are like, when are you opening your salon? When are you opening your salon? Open your salon. Because they like us.
Yes.
They think we're really cool, great people.
They would hate working for us.
They would hate us.
They would hate it.
Oh my God.
Because
I'm like,
I would
you
be
would
like,
you would hate me.
Yep.
And so, as a salon owner, you do want to maintain, like, people are gonna hate you a little bit.
Yep.
But you do want to maintain a certain level of, like, a good relationship at its deepest level. You have a good relationship with your employees. When you start getting into the one that's doing all the numbers and everything with them, that gets a little messy.
Yes.
Hire someone out that can be.
We can have those hard conversations.
That can be the one that they.
Why didn't you? You only pre-booked 12% of your people.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Try to hit 30, and here's how.
Yeah.
And we can have, like, money is the most uncomfortable conversation for. I mean, that's why people get divorced.
Yeah.
Finances are not an easy topic. So why not take that part out of it as a business owner?
Exactly.
Or even as an independent stylist.
So if you owned a salon, if you owned your own salon, would you hire someone out to do that?
Yeah, it would be hard mentally. I'd be like, I know how to do this, but I would need to, because even when I've been on the management side of things, that's where people don't like me, because I'm going to tell you like it is.
Yeah.
And they end up liking me because I help them make more money.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell them the hard way.
Yeah.
And the hard way is the right way. And there's no fluff around that. And if I owned that's why I don't own a salon.
Yeah.
Because also I don't own a salon for a lot of reasons. I think that for me, because I have been on a lot of sides of the industry, I realized I like myself more.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just that simple. And I think as a salon owner, you are sacrificing so much to make other people's lives better.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't willing to do that. But if I did do it, I would have to outsource it, even though mentally it would be really hard.
It's an ego thing for sure.
Yes, it is.
Especially if you are a super successful stylist
Yep.
turned hairstylist or turned salon owner.
Yep.
You can think, why would I ever need to outsource for that type of thing? I did it myself.
Because I think that's the mistake. You nailed it on the head right there. People think that everyone's going to behave like the way they do. It's like, you know how people are like, oh, treat others the way you'd want to be treated. Like that never happens.
That's under the impression that they're going to act the way that you would.
Yes. And not everyone, you and I don't operate the same way.
No.
So to expect, if you were a business owner, for everyone to operate the way that you would, you're never going to be happy.
No.
Ever. And that's it's unattainable. So if you put that people pleasing part aside and you're like, my job as a leader is to help support these people in whatever way they need. And at the end of the day, there's not one person that shows up to any job that is just like doing it as a hobby.
Yeah, exactly.
They are sacrificing their time so they can get money. Boom.
Yeah.
So if we can solve the issue of, all right, they're here for X amount of time, let's help them get X amount of money, that salon owner is going to be loved.
Oh, yeah.
Every stylist, if their salon owner invested in them to help them make more money and the salon owner didn't have to have those conversations, they're going to be obsessed with that salon and they're going to want to stay at that salon. That is going to keep them there.
Do you know? I feel like I read or heard somewhere that stylists stay at a salon for max 2 years. 2 years. That's crazy.
And usually there's high turnover rates all at the same time. Because typically it's another business opened and the stylist is not feeling heard.
Yeah.
Most of the time, this is 18 years from me now, so I've seen it. I could just assume, there's no data behind this, that most of the time stylists are leaving because they're not heard.
There should always be almost like a third party involved that is not
affiliated with the brand.
Yes.
Yeah.
To go to.
Yes. That's why you outsource HR companies.
And that is how things work. That's how people feel heard.
Yes.
I mean, it just goes back to the salon owner trying to be a one-man circus.
Exactly.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work, and it's not fair to themselves because they deserve to feel. I want salon owners, I want to change that part of our industry where it takes so much work to get profitable.
Why does it have to be a one-man circus? It doesn't. No other industry is.
No.
Like, I think it's just time that like everybody involved starts taking this seriously.
Yep.
And I think it's going in that direction, but the business side of things is just so far behind.
It is. And it's because they don't view themselves as a professional. People don't in this industry. And that's where we have set the bar so low, and it's gotten better. Like, I think people, when I started doing hair, people, because there wasn't social media, they were like, are you doing this to get through college?
Yeah.
Or what's your real job? And I would just clap back immediately. At that time when I first moved to Nashville, I would laugh all the time at that. I'd clap back and I'm like, well, wait till you see what I charge you.
You know what my dad told me whenever I was like about to go to med school? My dad was like, you know what, you can make as much as a doctor and have the lifestyle that you want.
Yep.
You just got to know how to do it. He's a businessman.
Yes.
He knew that people
and not
can
have
make
the pressure
happen.
of killing people.
Yeah, right?
Like, that's what's so great about our industry.
I don't want to miss my my 4-year-old.
I know.
Like kicking the ball. And,
I know.
They're not doing anything, but it's so fun to watch.
It's so fun to watch. And I think having kids really, I always wanted to do this part of the industry because I see that there's a hole, and there are consulting companies, there are coaches, but the hole that I see is most of them aren't currently doing hair.
Yes.
And a lot of them left that and they've been independent stylists before they did that.
Yeah.
We are commissioned stylists.
Yeah.
And I think that I wanted to do that for so long, and then I had a kid, and then I realized, wow, my time is even more valuable than it was before.
Yeah.
And now I've created this schedule to where I can see my kid grow up and do the cute shit with them, but also have my cake and eat it too.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like hairstylists have it all when it comes to that.
Yeah.
They can have it all. I mean, you can have the lifestyle you want, the time off you want, the schedule you want. The money you can make is endless.
Yes. There's no cap.
You just got to find your formula. And you need someone to help you get there.
Yeah.
If you want to do it.
100%.
But it's possible. My husband works corporate job, and I mean, he is just so envious.
Yep.
And it's just so crazy to me, the amount of people exiting the industry because they can't be successful.
Yes.
You can be.
You can be.
And it can be like one of the best routes you could possibly go.
100%.
People will post, like on TikTok, I want to be a hairstylist. Should I do it? The comments are filled with,
don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't. Like, yeah. Like, I'm not joking.
Okay, but also, to unwrap that makes me so sad that people have to put their like life choices out and ask people they don't even know. But that's a whole other sidebar. But that makes me so sad. But that number does not surprise me because even before social media really took off, I think it was only 75% of people that graduate cosmetology school actually continue to do hair.
Well, even into the salon owners, I'll see the same thing. It's like someone's like, I've been a hairstylist, successful hairstylist. They made it in that aspect.
Don't own
now
a
they're
salon.
like, I don't want to. It's owners.
Don't own a salon.
Don't own a salon. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
We know a few.
They can barely make money.
Yep.
They made more when they were just a stylist.
Unfortunately, even in like restaurant world, in management, once you get into that level, they're like, man, bartenders make more money than I do. And it doesn't have to be that way. It's the business model that the business has chosen. And it's salon owners. How do we take an industry where on average you're putting out 50% of what you're bringing into your stylist payroll? That's hard.
Yeah.
There's not many industries where that's happening.
Yeah.
But how can we take that other 50% and figure out how to make that profitable for you?
Down to its core, a salon has the potential to be one of the most profitable type of businesses.
Yep. It's about managing their real estate too.
Yeah.
It's about understanding as a salon owner, if I have 12 chairs, how do I manage that real estate? Because a chair should not belong to somebody. It belongs to me. And this is how I make that money.
Yeah.
But I mean, truly, it makes me so sad that people don't realize that because I, like you said about Trent, like I hear my clients even, they're like, wow, that's so great that you have Mondays and Tuesdays to go get all the doctor's appointments done, all the grocery shopping done, like all the basic shit that we normally have to put to Saturday and Sunday.
Yep.
And I'm so grateful. And getting into this industry, I didn't even know that I would be thankful for that.
I mean, I could be a stay-at-home mom 2-3 days a week and then work. Still a full-time schedule. I do 10s or 12s.
Yep.
You can have
both.
You can literally live the dream. You know?
It's so true. So like, I guess our goal is to help teach salon owners and stylists how to have that dream because it is possible. And I want salon owners to be successful because I think they can be. I know they can be. I've seen it happen. It takes outsourcing and that's just as simple as it is. Every single business has to outsource multiple things and we need to be able to be accessible to those businesses. So I'm excited for us to be able to do that for them.
Yeah, me too.
I guess with the Hair Talk Coffee Club, that's where we're going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And they can hire us to help coach their stylist or them or an independent stylist because I think there's a beauty in owning your own business. And
you are
we can
your
help
own business.
Them. Yes.
I mean, whether we're helping a salon owner or we're helping like an independent stylist, it's all a business at the end of the day.
100%. 100%. Well, I feel good about this conversation. Yeah. This was a good one.
Yeah.
That was Hair Talk Coffee Club. I'm Carly Ray.
Mattes-Nosko.
Make sure you follow us on social media.
Like, subscribe, all the things. We'll have everything linked there.